But there is something about church that you can't replicate, and that's the community that comes with it. Nothing in culture comes close to the community that you can find in church.
What Live Dead is church planting among unreached peoples through teams. So Chris and I have served with Live Dead for a long time, and Restoration Church has partnered with us for a long time. We appreciate it so much. Thank you for your incredible generosity. So the video that you just watched was a snapshot of Chris's and my life over the last 7 years, where we serve on an island off the east coast of Africa. The population is nearly 100% Muslim. So what does church planting look like? It looks like life-on-life ministry on a daily basis. You saw pictures of us in our village. You saw pictures of us in the healthcare clinic where Chris serves as a chiropractor, and I serve as his receptionist or administrative assistant there. And you saw pictures of our English center where we teach English as a second language to people that desire to learn English so that they can study in university or get a job in the tourism industry or in the government or in the police force, things like that. So also on the video you saw pray, give, go. And what I want to share with you just very briefly is the story of how Chris and I ended up serving overseas on a church planting team. We were part of a church planting team that went from a comfortable suburban church to an inner city church here in the U.S. We went from Linfield, Mass. To Lynn, Massachusetts. And we were part of a church plant. We were part of that church for about 5 years, and we invited missionaries to speak periodically. And a missionary came and he spoke one time and he said, first he invited us. He said, I invite you to consider serving God overseas. And so I want to pass that invitation on to you this morning in Dover and in the other locations as well, Restoration Church. I want to invite you to consider serving God overseas. And so what the missionary did that day when we were in church was he said, if you would consider going overseas, would you consider going where there is no church yet? Would you consider going where there are no Christians yet? And would you consider going where the people that you're living and serving among do not have access to the gospel, to the words of God, to the Bible yet? Would you consider that? And Chris and I took that invitation and we prayed about it, and we felt like the Lord wanted us to do that. So that's what the invitation that I want to pass on to you, because Chris and I have been doing this for quite a while. We still think we have some really good years left in us. We're not, the end is not in sight for us as far as we know, but we need more teammates on our church planting team. And the fact of the matter is we need more teams who will die to themselves so that others have the opportunity to hear, even one time, the simple gospel message. So you'll see this on the screen, we're just going to show you an internship card. This is one opportunity. This internship is for summer of 2027. Our internship for this summer in 2026 is already full, but we wanted to make sure and give you an invitation to the internship to consider, pray about, and contact Shawnette. Her contact information is there. If you would consider going and serving among an unreached people group on a church planting team to bring the gospel where there is no church yet, where there are no Christians yet, and where the people don't have access to the gospel yet. Let's make a difference together. We're going to be here for your hang time afterwards. We'd love to chat with you, give you more information, pray with you about it, or just talk with you more about it. Thank you.
Yes, good morning again. My name is Chris. It's great to be in church with you this morning. It's great to be in church with you in your homes as well. Isn't it great to be in church? Yes. Awesome. Hey, we love what we get to do. We love our story. We'd love to tell you more of it in the back of the church. Just to give you a snapshot or a couple snapshots, Rachel, if you can put that first picture up, please. We minister in 3 areas where we live and serve. We get to know our neighbors in our village. This year was a different year. Both of our best friends passed away. They were in their 60s and 70s, and they passed away. And we've known these folks for a long time. So the woman wearing the black, it was her husband, my best friend, that passed away. And it was a blessing to be there, to know these folks over the last 7 or 8 years. But it was also a blessing to be able to pray during this very difficult time in these 2 families that lost the matriarch and their patriarch. Next picture, please. So besides our neighborhood, as a chiropractor, I was invited to work in a free government clinic. So we see patients there. And this is just a representative shot of the hundreds of patients that we saw over the last 3.5 years since I received this invitation. Next, please. Another picture from our clinic. Next picture, please. And also, we have an English center that our team runs. Cindy teaches there, and these are some of the other teachers and some of the students from the English center. So thank you, Rachel, for showing those. So we love what we get to do, whether it's in our neighborhood, whether it's at the clinic, whether it's in the English center. As Cindy said, we would love to have more help. We have a lot of college students that come to visit us. They'll spend the summer, but we'd love to have more college students just come to see us and work with us. So those of you that are Gen Zers, born around the year 2000, you're welcome to come to Africa and join our team and pray about that. Talk to your parents about it. Talk to your grandparents about it. Get their wisdom as well. But great to be with you today. God bless you. Now it's time for a great message from Pastor Jeremy.
I had a question. If I were to ask you how many people you know, or how many people know you, what would you do to find that number? What would you do to figure out, well, how many people really know me? Would you open up your phone and go through your contact list? To me, that's very outdated. I think a lot of people in my phone probably have no idea who I am at this point. Siri does randomly call them when they have the same first name of the person I'm trying to call. Does that happen to anyone? Super awkward when it happens. But maybe you go through your contact list. Maybe you'd open up your Instagram followers. How many? Well, I'm following them. They're following me. Let's see how many people do I know. Maybe you'd open up your Facebook friends list and you'd see that list of people. Okay, those are the people that we mutually know each other. We agreed to be friends at one point. And I don't know, is it a thing? I heard it's a thing where you can see who's viewing your TikTok. Maybe that's how you say, how many people know me? The only people who see my TikTok really know me. And maybe those are some ways that you're defining. How would people know me? I don't know what number you'd come up with, but I wonder how many people actually know what keeps you up at night? How many people know not just what you joke about, what you like to highlight, but what you worry about? What gets you excited? What makes you passionate? How many people really know you? You probably know hundreds of people's names, but how many know you? Today, as we look into Vision in Motion, talking about some characteristics, some staples of what it means to be a church, we're going to learn a little bit about knowing each other. Pastor Stephen did an amazing job in week 1 of this series, saying a core fundamental thing that we as believers do is believe. We're a body of believers. That's step 1 in following Jesus and being part of a church, is believing that he is who he says he is. that he can do what he promises he will do. And so it's important for us to know that we're a believing church. If it's in the Bible and it says it's for us, we believe that it's for us. But we're diving into kind of the second thing that we feel as a church you need to put equal importance on. And that is not that you're just a body of believers, but that you're a body of those who belong. That you belong to something bigger than yourself. And when I say belong, I don't mean a couple high fives while the music plays in the background. I don't mean a couple nods while you're filling up your coffee, walking by the same people you walk by every single week, a couple passing jokes. I mean people who are following Jesus that know you deeply and you know them. That's the second thing with our vision in motion that we want to be. We want to be a believing church, but we want to be a church full of people who know they belong, that they belong to each other. Because here's the truth, you need community. You need community, and if you ignore building your community now, you'll be scrambling for it when life inevitably gets hard. Because life is going to get hard, and we need people who know us deeply and that we know and feel comfortable coming forward and talking it through. In this day, we have never been more connected than ever, but we have never been lonelier than ever as well. We feel this idea of feeling connected. I can FaceTime anyone any day I want. Well, back in the day, I would have to send a letter. It would take weeks for it to get somewhere. I'm so connected. I can text my friends. When I'm frustrated when I text my friends and 30 minutes pass by and I know they're looking at their phone because they're sending other links to my wife. That's normally what happens. I see links going to her. I'm like, come on, I texted you, right? There's this impatience because we're so connected, and yet we're lonelier than ever as a culture. Social media is a toxic place for relationships, and we all know it, but we all somehow believe that we're able to participate in it and not be affected in the way the culture is being affected. I feel that social media is full of the highlight reels. It's full of the big moments. We knew that. We always talk about like your Instagram highlights. Like, don't compare yourself to all the Instagram highlights. But there's kind of like a new thing that I'm seeing, at least as I'm being informed by Haley. I'm not on social media, but I see enough from what Haley shows me that I see this new world of humble brags that come out. It's not just about highlight reels, but it's like, it's the coffee cup with the Bible and the candle and the sunrise. Man, I'm so spiritual. I'm so good. I've got this so figured out. There's posting and vague booking where you post a status that you know at least 20 people know who I'm bashing right now, but at least it doesn't seem like I'm bashing people. And I see Christians doing this all the time. The algorithm is not creating community. What it's creating is tribalism. It's creating this tribalism where the algorithm knows what's going to get you excited, what you're going to like, what you're going to follow, but man, does it also know what you're going to comment on, what you're going to get angry at, what's going to keep you on the platform. And it creates not just an echo chamber of who agrees with you, but also it gives you a constant feed of things that will tick you off. Will just really tick you off and keep on there. Now, tribalism means strong loyalty to one's own group, tribe, party, or social group, and often includes an us versus them mentality, prioritizing the in-group's interest over others. It's convincing us that we need to agree or be shunned, be disowned. There is no in-between. And yes, this can happen even within our four walls. We can see it all the time, and that's why it's important to find a church that doesn't actively try and create an echo chamber. At Restoration, we're happy to have disagreements. We as a staff even say we want to fight behind closed doors. We want to argue things out and then move forward in unity publicly. And that's really how I would like all of us to function. If there's something you wanted to come forward and talk to your leadership team about, you're welcome Because it's not an echo chamber of, hey, agree with us, or there's a great church down the road, you can get out. You want to find a church that's not going to create an echo chamber. We can disagree and still love each other well. The second thing, this is new, right? We all know social media. I'll get off my pedestal of like, man, I don't like this platform. I'll talk about one that I do very much like, but it's a rise in an issue of community. And that is using things like AI. Now, I love using AI. It's more affordable than Grammarly. It fixes my grammar. It can write code for certain things that I'm working on for my business. It can help structure out and fix my thoughts as I just mind dump into it. It's amazing. But I don't know if you know this, the number one use of AI in our culture is companionship and therapy. The number one use is companionship and therapy. 72% of teens use AI companions. And 31% of them say they prefer their AI companion to that of their human friends. We're turning to it, hey, I'm thinking this, is that okay? Hey, I'm working through this, is that right for me? And we turn to AI. Now, I don't know if you had ever seen on the news, we saw tragically a teenager that gave his life. He committed suicide, and after finding a chat group or a chat message chain with ChatGPT, not only did ChatGPT say, hey, what you're feeling is completely normal, it encouraged him to not share that information with another person, and it helped him write his suicide letter. AI has no moral compass. For you to say, hey, I'm feeling this, is that okay? It's trained to say, absolutely, you're completely normal. You're fine. That's good. Here's a study about it. But we've turned to it. And you may say, like, man, good thing I don't use it that way. But that's the number one use of AI. Our communities are fractured. This really sounds kind of like a doomsday sermon a little bit, but our community is fractured, and there are things that are striving to bring connection, but there's only one real thing that God has created to fix our loneliness. Because the truth is this, it's community. Tomorrow's battles are won with today's community. Today's community is what you need to invest in. Yes, Jesus promises to bless us, but there are those that would do a disservice to the gospel by claiming that you're going to have a nice, easy road after you give your life to Jesus. Man, give your life to Jesus. It's going to be so great. You're going to walk on rainbows and butterflies. It's going to be the easiest thing you've ever done. But that's just simply not true. And Jesus had warned us, you're going to have a harder walk. See, we still live in a broken world right now. But Jesus has given us so many tools to combat the attacks of the enemy. And one of those tools is belonging. One of those tools is a sense of community and being connected. Did you know, before the fall, before any failure, before church was ever a thing, before anything went wrong and we lived in a perfect world, God said that something wasn't good. He said something wasn't good. In the book of Genesis, he goes through the creation of the world. He goes through each and every item. Day one creates light and darkness, and he says, it's good. This is good. Day two, he creates the sky, and he says, this is good. Day three, land, seas, and plants. This is good. Day four, the sun, the moon, and the stars, and it was good. Day five, sea creatures, birds, and he said, this is good. Day six, land animals and humans. On land animals, he said, this is good. You know what he said when he created you and I? This is very good. This is very good. But as we get to Genesis 2, we see the first thing that God says, this isn't good. this isn't right. And he says in Genesis 2:18, the Lord God said, it is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him. Community was never God's backup plan. Community was the first thing he saw missing from his creation of man. The first not good that God ever says is that man should be alone. You see, all throughout Scripture, the importance of being a body of believers, of being a community of people. The Israelites were given laws. They were to look a certain way, eat a certain way, react a certain way. And they should be viewed from an outside source as, man, these are God's people. I can tell when I meet one. These are God's people. We see it all throughout the wisdom books in the Old Testament. Proverbs 18 says, one who has unreliable friends soon come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. In Ecclesiastes, it says, two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. Yes. Just making sure they're the same translation. I didn't want to mess you up, which I'm going to keep reading my screen, so maybe they're not. If either one of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them. Also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. So the Old Testament knows, man, community, it's never a backup plan. This was God's design. In Acts 2, it's a scripture I read often, especially when sharing with you all, with sharing within the church, because I've already said it today, man, I just want us to look as much like the early church as possible. In Acts 2, we get a glimpse of how important community was to them. They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to breaking of bread and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. All the believers were together and had everything in common. They sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need. Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their numbers daily those who were being saved. Listen, I've been told good preaching finds one verse and just keeps diving into it. But you know what? I'm so sick and tired of us saying, man, community is just not my thing. So I need to prove to everyone today that, man, it doesn't matter where you look in the Bible, community is everywhere within it. And so for us to say, man, I just don't really need it. As you read this handbook of how to follow Jesus, you will find community on so many pages. Hebrews 10:24-25. And let us consider how we may spur one another on towards love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another. And all the more as you see the day approaching. Galatians 6:2, carry each other's burden, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. This is not just a good idea. This is not just a nice thing to think about every now and then. This is pivotal to running the race with endurance, to running the race with faith intact. What does church really mean for us? You know, I have the 2 little children who ask all the time if we're going to church, and we started trying to teach them that, no, we're going to the Dover building to see the church. We want people to understand that us coming here at 10:30 at every location is not church. We are the church, the body of believers who belong. It's not about hearing a sermon. Listen, there are plenty of people you can find online that are smarter than me, that are more engaging than me, that can teach with much more profound teachings. It's not about coming and hearing this talk, right? It's not even about just coming and singing worship. Man, we can find amazing music on our phones at any point. We can sing loud in the car. We can turn it up. The mix is always going to be just perfect as we crank up our stereos. Well, depending on what year your car is, it might not be perfect. But you get to listen to amazing worship anytime you want. But there is something about church that you can't replicate. And that's the community that comes with it. Nothing in culture comes close to the community that you can find in church. Because it's not just people who do the same hobby as you. It's people who are on the same path of following Jesus coming together. Nothing comes close. Now listen, community, it's not the end-all, be-all. I know some of you, you've tried being in groups before, and you might be thinking, man, he's really overselling this idea. He's really promising a whole lot. I've been in groups, and it just didn't go that way. But listen, community is one of the many gifts that God has given us. And it's a tool that Jesus even modeled himself with his 12 disciples and those even closer to him within the 12. And so maybe you're thinking, well, I joined a group before and it didn't really work out. I got burned from it. I opened up and it got really awkward and people stopped talking to me. I was vulnerable and then people just kind of disappeared after I told them all my problems. Yes, church is full of imperfect people trying to follow a perfect God. You're not going to just automatically try and make a friend group and knock it off right away, just hit it out of the park right away. But it's an investment that we make together. So how do you belong? If you've tried signing up for a circle or thought, man, it just doesn't seem like a circle's going to get me anywhere. If you tried coming to church and you just feel like a disconnect, how do we belong? Well, the first thing that we could do is just coming to church more regularly. To come on a weekly basis would change your life dramatically. I know there are a good amount of you that do this, that come week in and week out, but the national average is that someone who would say they're a firm believer in Jesus would come 1, maybe 2 times a month to church. And so just coming weekly would be a huge step in the right direction. But the next thing that you have to do is you have to find your community. Sitting here in a chair, man, it just doesn't work. It's really hard, and I know, I get it. For the longest time being on the worship team, my only community was the people I was serving with on that week. I wasn't connecting with anyone, and so during COVID-19, when we had to, gosh, it's weird to have a sermon where you mention COVID-19 again. I hate that. But during COVID-19, when we weren't meeting together, Haley and I just were ready to leave the church. We were ready to step out of it because it just felt like, what's the point? I'm just singing worship and there's a camera on me. And I don't know who's watching. I can't say hi to anyone after. This is terrible. And we began to just question Christianity. And then we started a small group. We would pre-record service and then we'd watch that service in our home together. And that small group has been with us through so many hardships, through so many trials. When I think about who knows what keeps me up at night, it's still the small group that we invested in when we had no one else to talk to. So find your community is a big deal. But the second is this: you don't want to just be a consumer of community, you want to contribute to it as well. You want to be the type of community, you want to surround people the way you hope they surround you. This is a two-way street. Social media is where you go to just share your opinion, to just work it out and expect a couple people to come on your side. Real life community involves you giving a little and them giving a little. And it's a joint effort. And so if you've joined a group or you've come to church and you're like, man, I just don't feel connected, I would just challenge you. Well, who did you talk to? Who did you carry? Who did you pray for? You want to surround people the way that you want to be surrounded. So today, at the end of service, we have our church hangout. And no, it was not good luck that we scheduled the church hangout as we talk about the second pillar of the vision for 2026. It was on purpose. We wanted to have a time at every location where we would get to spend time together, just outside of sitting and looking one direction. We get to walk around, connect with people. And so a small step for you, and the band can come forward at every location, a small step for you today would be to take out your phone when you're at a table talking with people and find one person and say, hey, could I get your number? And can we get some coffee this week or next week? Right? Just to find someone, and don't treat this as a dating opportunity for you, all right? I saw some of you like, all right, I see it. I get a couple numbers. Pastor Jeremy told me to. I'm so holy, right? I want you to find someone you can be friends with and get their number and connect with them. To not book it out these doors after service, but to find someone you can connect with and try and get to know them. Listen, Haley and I are going to do a very bad job being community for everyone. And so as much as we love reaching out and caring for you, man, we're going to let you down if it's us taking care of all of you. It's all of you caring for each other, to belong together. And we need all of us to do the work, to surround each other the way that we want to be surrounded. Maybe the phone number thing still feels too fast for you. You can start with, hey, my name is, how long you been coming? Just start with that. And then go refill your plate and walk away, right? That's your step one. You figured it out. Because when trials come, and they will come, Jesus warned us that life can get really hard sometimes. You're going to need community. You're going to need it. Tomorrow's battles are won with today's community. So don't wait for life to fall apart. Decide now the people that you want to surround you, people you want to connect with. And now, good community comes from learning about what real community is. And you can only learn about something that's been created for us by knowing the person who created it. And so I'm going to have the prayer team at every single location come forward. And I just want to invite you to give your life to Jesus. To start not just a community with the church, but start real life community with God, the Creator. That's the foundation. That's what carries every single one of us. And so if you've been stuck feeling lonely and disconnected, maybe you are using ChatGPT as a companion or as a therapist, and you're just like, oh man, this kind of hits and I need community. Listen, you can try and find it here, but we're step two of a two-step process of finding community. And following Jesus is step one. Getting community with the Creator.